Hello everyone, this is part 3 of figure analysis and how to draw a fashion figure, and we are drawing a 3/4 view where the body has turned, and I have marked out the levels already here. You all remember this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So the first of course is the head. The second marking here is the neck. That is the shoulder. That also is where the balance line or the clavicle will be. And this is where the armpit and the bust point would be. This is the waist level, hip level. The crotch should not come below 4.5. Knee is at 6.5 and ankle is at 9.25. These levels have already been done in the block figure. So I suggest look at the block figure first before we, please go through that so that you understand. What we are going to do is we're going to mark. If you see, I've taken this ruler which has a lot of lines in it. The advantage is that I can go parallel to any of these lines very easily. So if I am taking at the shoulder line, I am kind of matching it with her shoulder line so that I get a parallel line exactly as her shoulder line, and I am going to take her parallel to her waistline. If you can see, this is her waistline and I'm going to match it here so that I get the exact slant at my waist level. My waist level is different from her waist level, and I'm marking it there. And as we have discussed already, we're taking the hip level parallel to the waist level. Okay, and knees and ankle is going, let's see, I'm keeping my ankle level at 9.25, but I'm just taking this parallel line. Now these are all matching, these lines are all matching, and they are matching because I am using a ruler where I can match these lines so they become, this is parallel to this. Okay, remember one thing very clearly is that her body is different from her body. The croquis has completely different proportions. Just because she is going to stand like her, their bodies will not become the same. She has different proportions. Her hips are larger, her entire body width is much more than our croquis, the fashion figures. Her legs are much shorter than her legs, okay? So remember this very clearly, and this is where the important thing of what I was trying to tell you. Don't let the mind interfere. You know the measurements of the body. You know that they are different from hers, but yet there will be interference in your mind about, oh, but her body is like this. And every time you have this feeling, just bring yourself back to the fact that no, my fashion figure has different proportions than the woman whose pose we are replicating. So the simple thing is that you keep the head on one side. If you can see very clearly in this that the face is on one side and her neck is coming down. This is the clavicle. More of her neck is on one side. Shoulder is much more on one side. Shoulder is less on the other side. So if I mark my shoulder here, and but when the upper body, the shoulder is less here and the shoulder is more here, But in the lower body, you see the waist is much less here and much more there. This is the balance line, remember. So if you see this balance line, you see less of a figure on this waist on this side and more on the other side. So similarly, we are going to do keep her waist less on one side, more on the other side. And if you see her hip, so the center part of her body is coming somewhere there. This is her hip, and it's less on this side, more on that side, perhaps a little more. Okay, so now you can see how the body's movement is there, right? If you look at it, and we'll try and get it right. Okay, now you just simply have to connect this and that and this and that. This is a basic structure, but the bust comes out here and the back shows here. And so when we draw this and that, and when we draw the arm, it's a straight arm, we are drawing it. Okay, can you see this? And the bust is moved in. All right, and the hip is coming out. Remember, her hip will not look as big as the models. The fashion figure is slimmer. So if you see, the balance line is falling between her knee, so I can also kind of keep that in mind. And ankle is coming somewhere here, and foot is somewhere here. This one is there, so I'm going to simply follow the clues, and we are going to make our figure where high heels is coming down slightly, and the leg, the knee level, the ankle, and the foot. Okay, here the leg is going behind, merging there. Remember to set the knee, and then maybe a little more outward. Her foot is lifted. Use the measurements that you have in your block figure to understand where your hand would rest. Okay, so this hand emerges somewhere here, and we are now going to make her clean her lines out. So if you see, if you want to really replicate and have this hand placed exactly where the other one is, you can draw it like that. Or you do not have to draw this hand at all, because this hand is really doing nothing to enhance my figure or to make it easier for my garment to be shown. So in my mind, this hand is actually not required at all. So you can remove that completely. Okay, so I'm going to draw her bust and the shoulder, neckline, the shoulder showing a little more, maybe just a little. Okay, and we have the figure. You can always clean it up and make it into a stencil. So that's the bust point. You're looking at maybe slightly the bust point at a little lower here. Okay, that's your fashion figure that we've got from here to there. Fairly accurately, we've got the proportions as we have for our fashion figure, taking from this figure. Now the center part of her body, remember we've seen it, how it goes, so it will be somewhere like that. Which means if I have to draw a garment over this, this will be my center point. I hope this video has made it clear and simple for you to do figure analysis, which is actually something that we do just to take our pose from here to there. Remember, her body proportions are different from hers. We are just going to ask them both to stand in the same pose. Once you have this figure, there is a lot you can do with it. You can slim it down, you can make it thinner, fatter. Remember, a fashion figure, the way we are learning, is just a standardized way of drawing a fashion figure. There are multiple ways you can draw. You can change the proportion, you can make it however you want it. It doesn't have to be this slim, it doesn't have to be this long. It can be longer, it can be slimmer, it can be thicker, it can be shorter, it can be any way you want it to be. But start with this, because this is the first time you're going to be distorting the figure. Learn this because this is the basic, this is the classic, and then you can go ahead and experiment and create your own proportion and your own fashion figure. So happy drawing, and see you in the classroom soon.